Favorite Jay-Z track?
Oh man, one of the Mike Jordan of recording.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Dead Presidents, Dead Presidents, The Takeover,
Okay.
uh, Brooklyn's Finest.
Biggie.
I love the dough, just like you.
Mm-hmm.
Money Cash, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
The Blueprint 2.
Girls, 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 girls,
Yeah.
girl, I do adore.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Dream. It was all a dream. Got a dream, I said, about who he said, about big, I said.
Song
So,
cry.
yes, show him what you got. One of the most underrated songs, Poppin' Tags. That one was good on the Blueprint 2 album. I don't think that album gets as much credit as it needs to. That double disc album was great. Two back-to-back classic albums. Blueprint 1 and Blueprint 2 was good. Those was one of those why those are one of those the Blueprint 1 was one of those no skip albums. I mean, you literally get into your car, you put the CD in back when we had CDs, and you just let the whole thing ride until it runs out, and then you might feel the urge to play it again. Let's not forget about a song that has came out with the great Cardi B, the Reservoir Dogs song, um, "Imaginary Players."
Big
Imaginary,
Pimpin'.
yes. Let me see, man. I'm a huge Jay Z fan, man. Jay
Part
Z,
2 on the run.
yes, indeed. I actually went to the On the Run tour. I still got pictures of that.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, I still actually have pictures of that buried in my phone. I made sure I took a lot of pictures of that because to see Beyonce and Jay Z doing the On the Run tour, Jeezy was there, Lil Duval was there, DJ Khaled was there, a little T Pain, everybody was there. And then for them to warm up the show and then for them two to take it over it was nothing short of amazing. So yeah, I've not been to a standalone Beyonce concert, but when I was back in the 2010s, I did go to the On the Run Part 2 concert. That was something special to behold. Uh I think when I think Story of OJ, very, very damn good.
Yeah.
Story of OJ, ignorant shit. Yes.
Let's
Uh,
not forget Watch the Throne with him
Watch
and
the Throne.
Kanye.
Him and Kanye. Unfortunately, they're not as cool as they used to be, but
But that
you
was a
know,
hell of an album, though.
that was one hell of an album. The whole American Gangster album was good. The whole American Gangster album was good. The album that he showed arguably the most growth was probably American Gangster.
Sure.
You get to see the most growth from Reasonable Doubt to the Blueprint, and that was a lot of growth. And then you finally couple that with 444. That was one of the greatest. Family Feud, that's another one. One of the most underrated songs that Jay-Z ever brought out, You Must Love Me, featuring Kelly Price. You Must Love Me, featuring Kelly Price. Because that tells a story it tells a story when he first started his journey. I'm not gonna say what that journey was. You have to listen to the song, to him having beef with his cousin, and that journey and how it affected other people in his inner circle. And for him to go through that song and say "You must love me" after all of that, then that told the story. But by far my favorite song by Jay-Z is "Dead Presidents." I'm not for presidents to represent me. I know he stole that from that hook from Nas, on Whose World Is This? But I say this, that song with the beat by Lonnie Liston Smith, because look, that was a jazz beat. Go look up to the audience, go look up Lonnie Liston Smith, Garden of Peace. That's where that beat came from. So when you look at how that beat was evolved from a jazz and a relaxing beat and how it came to a hip hop beat and how Jay-Z was able to mold that from a jazz beat to a hip hop beat and make it into a classic, you'll see how special that really is. Can I Live was very, very special. Feeling It was special. Ain't No Future with Foxy Brown, that was special. Jay-Z,
Can I get a what?
yes, him and Ja Rule. I know it wasn't his song, but forever what will be the most special song ever when you it's Blackout on Flesh of My Flesh and Blood of My Blood in on DMX's album.
Yeah.
I sleep whole well and wake up and split summer, get on putting up Will Smith numbers. That and it was him, it was the Locks, and it was DMX. So you knew it was going to be a classic when they got on there. Def Jam during the 90s and the early 2000s, powerhouse, and Jay-Z was a big part of that. I know everybody likes to undersell him now because, you know, history is really not kind to, you know, to the most, I will say history is not kind sometimes to the most profitable. I will say when you are the most profitable artist, then the narrative kind of changes when it comes to you. When you're winning, much like Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, history is not kind because guess what? They try to go back and try to discredit you and disparage you as much as they can. But Jay-Z in his peak was something to behold, man. I mean, classic album after classic album. You might have had an album or two that may have not been critically acclaimed, but I think that, in my opinion, I don't think Jay-Z put out a bad album that I can really say that was horrible. The only one that I really had a problem with is like the Life and Times of S. Carter, not the Life and Times of S. Carter, but Volume 1, you know. But even that was a classic when it first came. Even that was a classic when you look back on it. Although people are going to criticize him for trying to be another hip-hop mogul, which we won't say his name, because he had the video Sunshine with Babyface. If you really look at that album, You Must Love Me was on that album. You had Reservoir Dogs on that album. You had a lot, you know, you had a lot on that album that you had that song with Juvenile with him on that album. So yeah, man, we got to give credit where credit is due, man. Plus the growth from him just being an artist to teaming up with Dame Dash and Kareem Biggs to him being now a powerhouse, working with the NFL, working with sponsors, working on trying to get his own casino, working at one point to be one of the minority owners of the basketball team, the Brooklyn Nets. That just goes to show you he was what he said. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. And if we can learn anything from Jay, man, you can segue and make your way from one thing to another. He's a flat out businessman. And for him to go from being a hip hop artist to a hip hop mogul along with his partner Dame Dash and Kareem Burks to now being a billionaire, working with the NFL, working with the NBA, working with the city of New York in order to bring in a casino, to have one of the most popular clubs, which I still have dreams of going to, the 40 for 40 club.
You got to go to that.
To go watch sports. That's my dream, to come to New York and go and watch the 40-40 club, get me one of these little booths or whatever, invite my people down and us have a good time. I got to go there one day. But for them to have that and for you to come from being a hip hop artist, which everybody doesn't reach that plateau. We've seen a lot of guys become rappers and just keep being rappers. But for you to come from being an artist to a billionaire, rubbing elbows with Robert Kraft, rubbing elbows with politicians, rubbing elbows with some of the most powerful people in the world, I have to give you credit where credit is due, because you saw that your business was more than just the music, more than just clothes, more than just the culture. So I got to give you credit where credit is due. Sean, Mr. Carter, we call you Mr. Carter for a reason. The real President Carter, in the great words of T.I. from down south, the real President Carter, Jay-Z. So, hey, man, I got to give you credit where credit is due. People might try to say, you know, you're not the GOAT or what have you, and people are entitled to their opinion. But to me, the fact that you elevated yourself from being just an artist to being a mogul, to being a multi-billionaire, rubbing elbows with the elite, I have to commend you for that, because where you started is not where you ended.
I agree, champ. I mean, Jay-Z, obviously, where he is, not only just as a rapper, but also as an entrepreneur. And of course, he and Beyonce, the hip hop couple that they are. So when I look at Jay-Z tracks, Excuse Me, Miss, Poppin' Tags, Girls, 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 99 Problems, I Know. I mean, those are some of my favorite tracks from Jay-Z. But my brother, you need to talk to my older brother Mark. He loves Jay-Z, particularly with his wordplay. He was trying to make arguments to me that how Jay-Z was the greatest rapper in his eyes. But I just love Jay-Z not only with his wordplay, but also too, man, just the business side of him, showing that you could do more than just be a musician. To your point, Champ, how he was able to connect with a lot of great people who are businessmen, entrepreneurs, politic figures. I mean, you seen him with Jerry Jones, you seen him with Robert Kraft, you seeing him. I mean, remember I think he was a part of the Brooklyn Nets as well.
Yes, he was part of Brooklyn Nets as a minority owner, and
Yep.
he had season tickets for life. In fact, there's a 40-40 club still in
Yes,
that
still.
building.
And you got to
So
go there. I've been there a couple of times. It's a really good spot.
yeah, hey, I got to make my way to New York. That's the only place. That's one of the few places that I've always been shy about going there, man. I know I go to Atlanta a lot, but New York, that's the big time. But yeah,
People are wild there though. I'm just
yeah,
letting you know.
I understand that, man. But I always want to see.
Good thing they won't mess with you. I mean, after
I
all,
don't know too many people gonna walk up on a 350-pound man, but I mean, there's some crazy cats out here. In the great words of my grandfather, there's some guys out here that eat the soles off your feet with your shoes on. But I'm just being real. So, but I love to go to New York and see how beautiful the city is, man. I only wish I could have got to see New York back doing the strong the hip hop era when it was a little bit stronger, because I always had aspirations of getting older and going to the tunnel and listen to Funk Flex drop some bombs and stuff like that, man. But the great city of New York. Yes, I do not like the Yankees, but I've always wanted to go to New York. I got to make my way up there. But hey, just being real, man. Once people criticize, Jay and Beyonce, once you get on certain levels, you're going to be dealing with people that the masses don't like. That's just an unfortunate fact of life. I know that once be yourself, we're going to be dealing with people that the masses doesn't particularly like. We're going to have to meet them. We're going to have to rub elbows with them. Now, we're not necessarily going to have to do business with them, but you're going to rub elbows and be around people that that the masses doesn't necessarily like. Does that mean you're dealing with them? Absolutely not. But when you are in an elite class, there's not too many billionaires in this world. There's a lot of millionaires in this world. There's not a lot of wealthy billionaires in this world, especially when you come from the background as far as being a rapper is concerned, as far as being with being Jay-Z. Not too many rappers have become billionaires. You've seen sports stars become billionaires. You haven't seen a lot of rappers become billionaires. So when you're dealing with the elite of the elite, you're going to be meeting a lot of people that a lot of folks just don't particularly like, and you're going to get criticized about that. So, I mean, I don't blame you on that. Everything is about business. And guess what, man? I'm not going to be mad at you because you're handling business. I might not agree with it, but it's business at the end of the day, and business is good.
in the words of B.I.G., the notorious B.I.G., more money, more problems. And jealousy and envy comes with the territory.
Yeah. Like I said, I know when we get to a certain level, we're going to be dealing with some people we don't particularly like, and that the masses doesn't particularly like, and people are going to have their assumptions about it, and it
But
is
that
what it
shouldn't be
is.
our concern, though. That
But
shouldn't be our concern or problem. Look, If people just mad, hey, look, that's the part. That's the nature of business. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Exactly. And you're going to be meeting a lot of people that people don't like, man. Look, do you think, look, I think a certain mogul said it best. You don't always have to like a person, but just do business and just leave that other stuff where it's at. The emotions are not involved, but you just got to put everything into perspective. And guess what? Business is business. This is about money. And when you get to a certain level, certain things don't matter except one thing, that cold hard cash. That's all that matters in certain rooms that you walk into. Is that cold hard cash. As long as you got enough cash, you can deal with anybody in certain rooms. I'm just gonna be real with you.
No doubt about that.